It's a wet Friday. Hello, good afternoon. The 1st of March 2019. Welcome to Midday Live here on TV3. My name is Pa Kwesi Asare. And coming up, the National Democratic Congress proposes National Peace Council be appointed as mediator in talks on disbanding political party vigilantes. Also coming up, Commission of Inquiry probing the Yawaso West Wuogon by-election violence visits area where the shooting incident occurred. And elsewhere on the international front, the United States is offering a reward of up to $1 million for information about one of the sons of the late Al-Qaeda leader, Osama bin Laden. We've got details of these stories plus many more coming up in the next 60 minutes. Be reminded that we're also streaming live on Facebook. You can also join us with your views, comments and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour. Visit any of our social media pages, Facebook or on Twitter. Now, the National House of Chiefs has called on political parties to ensure fairness in the conduct of elections in the country. The House says it behoves on political leaders to take actions that will curtail election-related violence being recorded in recent times. President of the National House of Chiefs, Togbe Apede XIV, was speaking at a meeting in Kumasi.
We have had to speak about this several times in the past, about lawlessness, growing vigilantism, and etc. Because as chiefs, custodians of the land, the first people that people actually rush to when there are difficulties, we are very much concerned. And of course, concern has become heightened by the unprecedented events that took place during the by-election at Ayawaso. It has become quite typical of African elections. But of course, as I said, what happened at Ayawaso was unprecedented in the history of this country. So we are worried about how much violence one election, one by-election could result in, and therefore the consequences if such violence is carried into next year's elections. We're talking about 275 constituencies, therefore, that will be electing both members of parliament and also voting for the president of this country. So you can see that the scale of the election we're going to be having next year is more than 275 times what we had at Ayawaso. So the concern is that if the kind of things that we saw or we heard happen at Ayawaso can happen in several constituencies, that would not augur well for the maintenance of peace in this country.
Meanwhile, the national chairman of the main opposition National Democratic Congress, Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo, has officially written to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo over the latter's call on the country's two major political parties to dialogue on how to disband their respective militias. The call by the president was made on Thursday, February 21, in a State of the Nation address to Parliament. Now, in his letter dated February 28, 2019, Ofosu-Ampofo welcomed President Akufo-Addo's call and insinuated it is long overdue. He noted that the move must even be widened to cover all political parties, as well as civil society organizations, the media, the police, and the military, together with other relevant stakeholders. The NDC national chairman suggested that a mediator of the national credibility must be appointed for the dialogue. The NDC proposed that the National Peace Council be appointed as mediator for such a meeting. The NDC chair also suggested that the Kofi Annan International Peace Training Center, the United Nations Development Program, the UNDP, the National Commission for Civic Education, and the Institute for Democratic Governance join the efforts by the Peace Council. All right, so Kwao Emisa Abraham is a governance expert and lecturer at the University of Cape Coast and joins us for some expansion on this matter. Sir, we know the National Democratic Congress has proposed that the Peace Council be made to mediate the talks. A good starting point?
Thank you very much for having me. Yes, definitely. When you read the content of the letter, specifically the reference to having a mediator and the nomination of the National Security, the National Peace Council is definitely a good call, especially when they are conceived as non-partisan organizations and with reference to the recent tape that has come out and how people have received it and how certain names have popped up and all that. Yes, it is a very good call. However, I have a little problem as to whether are they supposed to play the role of mediators, or they are supposed to be participants in making sure that we have a roadmap to which we are going to end vigilantism. Because, first of all, with such a letter from the chairman of the NDC, I see a subtle admission that, yes, these political parties have such groups. And so once they have such groups and they have admitted, what mediation do we need? We only need to have a roadmap to which we are going to disband these groups, and not necessarily to have kind of a mediation between two parties, that is the NDC and the NPP. So yes, it is good if these organizations participate, and I think with that we'll be able to make a headway.
And you believe the National Peace Council is well placed to mediate this talk?
Well, I do not think it should only be be centered on the National Peace Council. I think that other civil society groups, other organizations, and when I read the letter, I realized that it wasn't just the National Peace Council. It was made up of other organizations like IDEC, like NCC, and others. When they play a central role in ensuring that they will be able to see how they can disband these groups, I think it will be very much important. With the National Peace Council, I do not think National Peace Council alone can actually play such a central role in making sure that these parties, disband their groups.
Mr. Kwao Emisa, I've got to say a big thank you to you. Thanks very much for joining us on the phone lines. You're still watching Midday Live here on TV3. Be reminded that we're streaming live on Facebook. So away from the NDC and the issue of vigilantism, the flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has assured aspirants of working hand in hand with them to ensure victory for the NDC come 2020. The failed aspirant, on the other hand, pledged to support him in capturing power from the Akufo-Addo-led government. While addressing a news conference in Accra, the former president called for unity among party members.
The former president underscored the need to go into the 2020 general elections with a
Apologize for the abrupt end to that story. We'll bring it to you later in the bulletin. But the 5-member committee set up to investigate the causes of conflicts between the Konkombas and the Anufus will present its findings to the president tomorrow, Friday, March 1, while the Reverend Father Thaddeus Kusa was addressing a debate in Cherponi organized by members of parliament from the Cherponi, Saboba and Walensi constituency, chaired by the regent of Cherponi, Pastor Kofi Jaminja, who assured members of the Peace Council of his continued support to the peace process.
Inaugurated on January 12, the mandate of the 7-member committee, which is chaired by a former Inspector General of Police, Patrick Echampong, is to, among other things, make recommendations. Though a peace pact was signed in Tamale by chiefs of both tribes, peaceful coexistence has eluded both tribes since. Road blocks that were erected in the adjoining communities in both Saboba and Cherponi, we gather, are yet to be removed. Also, the market in Saboba has never been patronized by traders from Cherponi and vice versa following the conflict. But the Northern Regional Secretary of the National Peace Council, Reverend Father Thaddeus Kunsa, is hopeful recommendations made in the report will restore lasting peace among the two tribes. He also entreated residents, especially the youth, to eschew all acts of violence. The regent of Cherponi, Pastor Kofi Indaka Jaminja, revealed the total support of the Cherponi Traditional Council. At least 6 communities in both the Saboba and Cherponi districts came under an almost 7 days siege after a renewed clash, which commenced from Nanduni, a community in Cherponi where thatched homes were set ablaze. At least a dozen people were killed, while property ranging from silos, motorbikes, tricycles, and farm produce were also destroyed in the fire.
In other news, preparations are underway at the Aliyu Muhammad Sports Stadium in Tamale as Ghana readies to celebrate its 62nd Independence Day. Our Northern Regional correspondent Zubaida Ishmael visited the venue and reports.
A total of 30 contingents made up of the Ghana Armed Forces, Ghana Immigration Service, Ghana Police Service, Ghana National Fire Service, Ghana Prison Service and the Custom, Excise and Preventive Service will be participating in the parade. 12 contingents made up of schools drawn from both the first and second cycle institutions will also take part in the parade. The 62nd Independence celebration is on the theme Celebrating Peace and Unity. The guest of honor for the parade is President of Niger, Mahamadou Issoufou. Today's rehearsal is among series of rehearsal before the final dress rehearsal on Monday, March 4. Eleven interest groups also took their turn. Members of the Ghana Girls Guide and Ghana Scouts Association will represent the 6 newly created regions. Representatives will adorn themselves with traditional attire of the regions and
Well, away from the northern region, the Commission of Inquiry probing the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election violence has visited the area where the shooting incident occurred. The visit is a fact-finding exercise which is aimed at appraising and furnishing the Commission with corroborative evidence to the testimonies given before it.
Inspect the location so that we can relate the testimony of the witnesses to the location to see the directions, for example, from which shots were fired, etc., to see the house in which the events took place.
The Commission has had a first-hand opportunity to inspect bullet holes, to inspect angles of penetration, to speak to people on the ground, to inspect potential dangers that could have been occasioned if it wasn't for the intervention of God. And so by reason of this, the Commission has had an opportunity to inspect for itself the things that it's heard. And therefore now we can relate to the things that we heard in sit-ins, to the things that we've inspected in practice, and be able to come out with, if you like, the Commission will be able to come out with the outcome that best supports the fact. Because ultimately this is a fact-finding mission, and you can't conduct a fact-finding mission without actually visiting the locals.
In pursuant to its mandate, the Emo Short Commission, led by its chairman, Emo Short, has visited the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency on to furnish with corroborative evidence or otherwise relative to testimonies given by witnesses at its sitting in the company of ballistic experts, CID officials, The commission has successfully inspected some bullet marks within the enclave. It also visited the residence of the NDC aspirant, Kwesi Brimpong, where they interacted with him shortly. The commission is expected to sit on Monday, where Kodeo, CDD, and the IGP are expected to appear before it. Sarah Paco reporting for TV3 News.
And right here in the studios of TV3, my name is Parkus Yassar. You're watching the Midday Live on TV3. Now, parents at Afamasi Akotom in the Prestia Ahuni Valley municipality of the Western region are compelled to buy furniture before their wards can gain admission to school. My colleague Stanley Nibler reports teachers also bring chairs from home.
Afamasi and Akotom are two farming communities inhabited by an estimated population of about 1,500. The two communities are located some 15 kilometers from Takwa and 17 kilometers from Bogosu. The Afamasi Akotom School serves the entire school-going population of the two communities and 5 other adjoining villages. However, the state of the school leaves much to be desired. It's a Monday morning and both pupils and teachers have reported to school in their numbers. Soon, there is the school's parade. And then the day's activities begin. The school, which runs kindergarten to junior high school, has a population of a little over 600. Pupils are happy to receive education because they are eager to change society. But one thing remains a challenge. That is furniture. There has not been the supply of furniture for more than 3 years. Parents are therefore compelled to bear the brunt. This is class 1. Ideally, it is supposed to hold 35 pupils, but now hosts 64 pupils. There are only 5 government-provided furniture in the class. The remaining furniture were bought by parents for their wards. Pupils whose parents could not afford a furniture perch with their colleagues or have the option of lying and doing the day's work on the floor. This, according to the head teacher of the school, Nanaya, affects academic work.
This place and admission, every day they keep coming. But anytime somebody comes, I have to alert the person that we have a challenge, which is furniture. And some of them will agree, oh, madam, let my child be in the classroom. I will find means to bring. For some of them, we give them the chance to be there. They will go and they will not come. Others wouldn't prefer that the award should sit on the floor or be standing. So you can just imagine what goes on in the classroom.
The school has now made it a requirement for parents to provide their wards with furniture before they can be admitted to the school. The furniture situation is same in all the classes. Teachers are not left out.
So furniture is the major issue, to the extent that even the teachers, they have to even carry their own furniture to school.
Dinah Apia is coming to the school for the second time to seek admission for her son. She visited the school 2 weeks earlier, but did not meet the admission requirements.
It is not everything we should leave to the government to do, so I was happy when I was asked to provide furniture for my son. It cost me 50 cedis to acquire the furniture.
This couple has also come to seek admission for their daughter. For them, they have neither books nor furniture, but their daughter was granted admission on condition that they would provide her with furniture within a week. I was asked by the teachers to provide furniture for my daughter, but I don't have the means and I also can't send her home. If she will even sit on the floor to learn, till I get money to buy the furniture, I will let her do it. It is compulsory for every Ghanaian child to access basic education, but here in Afamasi Akotom, accessing basic education comes with lots of challenges simply because stakeholders have reneged on their responsibilities. The school also has limited cupboard. For this reason, some students keep their books at weird places. The kindergarten and junior high school blocks have not received much facelifts.
Looking at our blocks for our KG and our GHS blocks, it was just a temporary structure. And anytime it rains, it's better you have to be here to witness it yourself.
Opinion leaders are not enthused about the development. They complained successive governments have not been fair to the Afamasi Akotom school. Parents here engage in menial works. Palm oil making is the alternative to farming. Hence, purchasing furniture for the awards has not been easy.
The work we engage in is very difficult, but because we want to meet the educational needs of our children, we are forced to do it.
Teachers are committed to deliver on their mandate. Hence, all hands would be required to support the cause. The Prisia Huni Valley Education Directorate and the Municipal Assembly are yet to respond to the plight of the school. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Afamasi Akotom, Prisia Huni Valley, Western Region.
And from Ofenso, Daniel Agukari in the Ashanti region takes his turn in our MTN video report. Let's watch what his concern is about.
It's Namo SDA Primary School in the Ofenso municipality in the Ashanti region. Over the past 10 years, the school has been staying under this structure. Last year, one of them collapsed after school. It was an eyesore. We have written numerous letters to many stakeholders to no avail. Anytime it threatens to rain, the authorities of this school have to close the school down. We are pleading in order to ensure smooth teaching and learning. The government of Ghana and other stakeholders should come to our aid and build a classroom block for us to teach. Citizen journalist Abukari Daniel reporting.
And just like Daniel, you can also send your video report via WhatsApp on 055-1433-044. That's 055-1433-044. You still watch Midday Live here on TV3. Still ahead, we've got the very latest in business news. We've got international news as well as sports news, all coming up shortly. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the business news segment on Midday Live. Now, a procurement specialist with the World Bank, Thompson Anwansiao, has asked government to resort to the use of alternative dispute resolution to resolve contractual and procurement disputes to avert the payment of judgment debt. He was speaking at an event to induct new students for the 21st cohort of the PEM ADR 2019 program in Accra.
The World Bank procurement specialist was disturbed about numerous court cases on procurement and contracts. He also cited a delay in honoring contractual agreements which have compelled government to pay judgment debt. Engineer Thomas Anansian proposed that government should resort to alternative dispute resolution.
If you delay in contract, there are penalties. If a payment is delayed, there could be penalties and so on and so forth. So you need to understand all these provisions. So what I want to say for now is that bear in mind there are issues about the procurement process. There will be disputes. You need experts to be able to deal with them expeditiously. Otherwise, there will be serious losses by government, by contractors, by consultants, etc.
A commissioner with the National Labour Commission, Patrice Fidelis Sedo, underscored the relevance of ADR in mediation.
Very, very solid. Some of us have gone through other ADR programs, but I can assure you that what you've taken from here is solid, and when you practice it, those who come before you will appreciate you for what you have taken from here.
The Chief Executive Officer for Game and Game Group, Austin Game, asked players in the banking sector to resort to ADR to resolve disputes among themselves.
We encourage lecturers, researchers, professional ADR practitioners, students, and others to visit the site regularly to learn and contribute in the field of human resource management, industrial relations management, conflict resolution.
The event was used to induct the new students for the 21st cohort of the PEM ADR 2019 program. Under the program, participants were undertaken through the use of ADR in resolving land disputes and also ensuring corporate governance.
To some other stories, a company's success depends on its branding and corporate social responsibility. Firms must build a good corporate image through initiatives that mutually benefit the company as well as the community in general. This is the clarion call of a senior lecturer at the Department of Marketing and Entrepreneurship at the University of Ghana, Dr. Prince Kodia.
Many companies are becoming conscious of the importance of branding and corporate social responsibility. This is the reason for which Dr. Prince Kodia wrote his book titled Corporate Social Responsibility and Brand Equity, a Strategic Perspective to Guide Companies Expand. Areas explored in this book include building a good image that is beneficial to both the company and the society at large, philosophies underlining branding and the CSR, and roles that marketing and communications play in the grand scheme of making companies relevant in the communities they serve.
This is a well-researched book, and therefore we take you through a systematic approach to doing the issue and the discussion. You know, all businesses geared or whatever firms do, the ultimate idea is to build the equity for their brand, being the product brand or the company as a whole. And therefore, anything that will impact on this brand should be something that organizations must embrace.
CEO of Vocacom, Nana Osei, is unhappy over the crop of graduates joining the workforce.
I believe it's very important that we get good collaboration between academia and business, because business is constantly complaining that the quality of students who are coming to join the workforce is not good enough. And the students in academia are complaining that there's no jobs, but there are jobs. I believe that is happening because there's a big gap between academia and business. We need to manage to bridge that gap, and opportunities like this are good.
The 213-page book will be a very useful source of information for the best practices in branding and CSR for business students, researchers, businessmen and women, and the general public.
Away from branding and marketing, let's go to the power sector, where Ghana intends to add nuclear to its power generation mix by 2030. The Atomic Energy Commission is finalizing the first phase of the International Energy Agency requirements towards the establishment of a nuclear power plant. My colleague George Quenon has more in this report.
Ghana's efforts at nuclear energy generation started in the 1960s when the country's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, established the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission to undertake nuclear applications and also generate electricity. Efforts have been made by successive governments to see to its realization as an alternative source of power generation. Per the International Energy Agency requirements for the establishment of the plant, it mandates the setting up of Nuclear Regulatory Authority and an owner-operator, which have been satisfied. At the Ghana Nuclear Power Program Organization Stakeholders Forum, it was revealed that 14 areas have been zoned, 13 coastal and 1 inland. By the end of 2019, the preferred location will be selected for the establishment of the plant. The Deputy Energy Minister, Joseph Kujo, expressed government determination to set up the plan to diversify power generation.
We're in 2019. 2030 is 11 years away. A typical nuclear plant would take a minimum of 7 years to develop if even you try fast-tracking everything. You know, changing the culture of a people doesn't take a day or two or a month. The construction phase, financing arrangements, institutional development. I think 2030 is in order.
The Ghana Atomic Energy Commission noted safety and security measures have been considered before its implementation.
There's a knowledgeable decision and knowledgeable commitment. You have taken a decision, but you should get the knowledge as you commit yourself to a particular channel so that your program does not suffer during the implementation period.
The forum was on the theme Nuclear Energy, Powering the Future.
Well, that's it for the very latest in business news. For more business news stories, you can log on to our website, 3news.com. Now, away from business, the cardiothoracic unit of the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital has diagnosed about 200 patients suffering from a life-threatening heart condition known as leaking valve. Now, a team of cardiologists from the James Cook Hospital in the United Kingdom, headed by a Ghanaian, has offered to support some free valve replacement surgery. Now, correspondent Beatrice Gabra observed one of the corrective surgical sessions at the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital. Viewer discretion is advised.
We are coming to you from one of the theaters of the Komfanoche Teaching Hospital. Behind me is a 30-year-old young man who had some issues with one of his valves. I mean the cardio system of this 30-year-old Bright Dankwa, who without this surgery would have died, because this particular surgery is not so common in Ghana here. You either have to go to Egypt to have this surgery performed for you at a higher cost. But we have some cardio surgeons from the United Kingdom who are here performing this surgery for Bright and other people with other heart-related diseases. I have one of the lead surgeons with me here from James Cook Hospital in the United Kingdom to speak to us about how significant this process is for Bright.
So poor Bright has a very severe problem with his heart. One of his heart valves is leaking extremely severely, and so instead of his heart pushing all the blood out into his body, it is going backwards the wrong way, and so his heart cannot pump properly, and this is making his heart fail, and without this heart surgery he would definitely die relatively soon.
So one would say, how important is this surgery that we have the BBC and other media houses here to see you perform this surgery?
Well, the frustrating thing is that in the West, Bright would always get his operation. We do 30,000 of these operations every single year. But here in Ghana, it's not offered routinely to the people of Ghana. And yet there are hundreds and hundreds of people out there that could have their lives saved by heart surgery. So we, in the West, and we're very lucky to have Enoch Akoa, who is actually originally from Kumasi, and yet he now works in our hospital in Britain. We really want to work together with the surgeons in your hospital and in your hospital in Kumasi to start a heart surgery program. So we've come here for the very first time to start some heart surgery, and we very much want to build a relationship with yourselves so that we can start routine heart surgery, because there are hundreds of people that could benefit if only we can make this work.
How much would this have cost if he has to travel to United Kingdom or the US to have it done for him? And how much is he paying now that you want to start this whole heart project with Komfanoche Teaching Hospital?
So in the US or in England, it would cost around about $20,000. So he would have to raise that and come to the West. So really that's not affordable for most Ghanaian people. So we, as a group of heart surgeons led by Enoch Akoa, have raised some money for us all to come here and do some operations. So for him, this is completely free. He does not have to pay anything.
How many other heart-related surgeries or corrective procedures would you be performing during your period or stay here?
Well, we're doing one every single day this week, and we're also doing some pacemaker procedures as well. And we're trying to do about 2 a day for this. But really, the idea of coming here is to show that it can be done and that we can come back and do it again. And hopefully, with the support of the hospital and the chief executive and the people of Kumasi, hopefully we can make this happen routinely, because you've got some amazing people in your hospital, and we'd love to work with them to get heart surgery started here in Kumasi.
Well, pretty much interesting. There used to watch Midday Live here on TV3. So, entertainment hip-life music group Bookback was among the few groups to take the industry by storm in the late 90s. Their hit song, Komikeke, I beg your pardon, shot them to prominence, earning them admiration and street credibility. My colleague Owusu reports Bookback may be inactive now, but their works and legacy still lives on.
Formed in the 90s, Hip life music group Bookback comprised Prince Bright, Isaac Shotan aka Papa Shoto, and raga artist Ronnie Coaches. Rapping in Ga, Chi, and Pidgin, Bookback became the first hip life group to be successful with Ga lyrics. They burst onto the scene thanks to their mega hits Komi Kekena, translating into Kenke and Fish. Bookback never looked back after that. Releasing back-to-back hits earned them the much-needed wider appeal to top charts and headline shows.
The award for Hip Life Song of the Year 2002 goes to Bookback for Club.
Bookback won the Hip Life Song of the Year at the 2002 Ghana Music Awards. Their song Club Lofo, otherwise known as I'm Going to Come, did the magic for them. Just as they had won the hearts of music enthusiasts, Shotan, a co-founder of Bookback, left the group, leaving Ronnie Coaches and Bright to record 1662, Sika Koko, and then Gold Coast. The other songs include Akwesi Broni, Helepu, and Chingelinge. Kaka Chofa, You For Know, and Kelewele still remain the favorites of fans. They won Hip Life Song of the Year and Album of the Year at the 2003 Music Awards. Bookback mentored talents like Castro, K2, and Bubskini. Music group 4x4 was the offshoot of Bookback. In 2006, the center could no longer hold as Ronnie Coaches and Bright also split. After 6 years of pursuing solo careers, the two announced a comeback in 2012. They came back with a bang. Their song Kolom was the talk of town. A year after their comeback on November 21, 2013, Ronnie Coaches passed on, leaving behind Prince Bright. Bookback may be no more, but their works and legacy lives on.
Their works and legacy indeed live on. Now, there have been calls for the two surviving members of the Hip Life group that spoke back to wage a comeback. Regrettably, Prince Bright and co-founder Isaac Shutan, aka Papa Shoto, are not the best of friends. Papa Shoto, who is currently in Ghana, wants them to bury their ego and reunite for the sake of the Ghana music.
So yeah, I've been between Geneva and California for the past 15 years.
So can you tell us what is happening to Bookback? Is it dead? Is it still alive?
Bookback is a legacy, and Bookback will forever be with us. Prince Bright is still around. I'm still around. There's just a bit tension between both of us right now, and I know with time we're just gonna settle our differences, and Bookback should be back up rocking.
Can you take us back? Can you tell us what actually happened to Bookback? Why you left the group?
Like most groups, it's more of financial. There was some monies missing somewhere, but I never came out until recently because I felt Prince Bright stepped on my toe. But yeah, it's past of it. It's a couple of years ago. We're all matured now. We're all grown-ups. And I think looking forward, we can put those differences aside and come together for the love and sake of Ghana music.
What you did in your first song, is it Komi Kekena? Okay, so can we hear your line? What did you actually do in that song? Can you remember that line?
It's been I don't know, almost getting on past 2 decades. Yeah, I think 21 years. I think I still remember it, but I think I'm more familiar with the one from Chingelinge. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to give you a bit lines from Chingelinge if you don't mind. Okay. Mbani via me peso and then yamia bata me bread. Ama mashe red yet nobody is dead. First album no your dread. We susu as you said. Bookback yasamba yama yehon akwaba. Obey yo bia me yada.
And, I was just rapping alongside the book bag guy, and hopefully we'll bring you more on this story in our subsequent bulletins. Thanks very much for watching. This is Midday Live. It came to you live from our studios here at Adesawe in Kanda, Accra. My name is Parkus Yasari. For more news, you can log on to our website, www.3news.com.